And we're joined from Kiev in Ukraine by Kostyantyn Batozsky, political analyst. Good to have you with us, Konstantin. Look, U.S. and Ukrainian intelligence, as far as I've read up, they assess that Vladimir Putin has not altered his war aims. Focus on the diplomacy here first. After all this U.S. diplomacy, where do things appear to stand from the Ukrainian perspective?
Well, from the Ukrainian perspective, actually, we're in a kind of a stalemate since no major breakthroughs happened during last negotiations. There are few topics in which all sides have absolutely opposite views on.
Okay.
Well, the first thing which is crucial important for Ukraine is the status of the Russia-occupied territories because in order to make a ceasefire, we have to define the line. And actually, it happens to be the key problem because what kind of line we're talking about? The current front line, Russia considers it's their own territory, and Ukraine consider this territory as its own. So, what's the status of this line? Is it a border line, a conflict line? It wasn't specified yet. Then the second key question is the security guarantees for Ukraine, since we had sad experience with first Budapest Memorandum and so-called big treaty on friendship between Russia and Ukraine, which Russia actually broke. And we find this really difficult to trust a side that actually doesn't follow their international obligations. And the third moment which sides disagree on is the reparations, whether Russia should pay for all war damage that they've done here in Ukraine.
Sticky territory
Russia
for sure.
obviously denies
Yeah.
it.
Look, obviously, these are major issues that there's no light at the end of the tunnel for. I understand that. Look, the car bomb. I want to get your thoughts on this. Who did it and why?
Well, we actually defined Russian officers who took part in war crimes in Ukraine and tried to reach them out. And actually, our security services now prove to be powerful enough to reach people outside Ukraine, even in Russia. So I'm afraid it's, a hand that just defines justice because the people who are killed, they're not civilians. We're talking about a high-profile Russian general who took part physically in war in Ukraine.
Look, how do you characterize, Konstantin, the war front at this point? How intensive is the fighting on the fronts?
Well, since Russia exceeds Ukraine in manpower and obviously in weapons, they have been attacking all the time along the entire front line, which actually makes our defense really difficult and challenging. Russians don't use now tanks and war machines. They try to interfere with the small groups in holes along the front line, since we cannot put every soldier every 500 meters. And using these small groups, they approach further and further, but still the pace of this approach is very low and very insignificant. And for the last year, Russia actually haven't moved very far, and the cities which they captured are really small towns and not big centers. For instance, Pokrovsk.
We know the winter is no time for major territorial gains in that part of the world, of course. Konstantin, thanks for being with us.